I can't do multicam and shit, which sucks. So yeah, we may have to invest in some like headphones or something.
I'll get some headphones. I had my headphones on the other one, but you were still getting it even with the headphones, right?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. So I was just thinking maybe over the ear. So I can send you what I got. They're pretty cheap, I think. But
Yeah. But it recently just started too. So I'm wondering the heck.
yeah, so I'm gonna Google around and ask like yeah. So I'll try to do some research on like what's going on with the script or anything changed. They updated their logo from blue to red, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know
Hmm.
if they changed other stuff, but yeah, dude, my mind's been blown. I've been all over the place this week, like with like you sent me the Claude for PowerPoint, and so I use Gamma, and so then I found that skill, the Claude skill that somebody built, and so I scanned that for like security issues, and then I basically just Claude created like an enablement deck for outside security that I wanted to do. And then I just had Claude Code do the same thing with the same like input, like outline. And then it created something that's like in JavaScript and React. And I can show you all that stuff. But then I've also been trying to play around Open Claude. And I finally got the dashboard up and the LM's connected and Discord server, but I can't log in because the token keeps dropping or some shit. So yeah, dude, I'm like brains in a million different directions, but this shit is fucking crazy. So crazy. So where do you want to start? I'm, I'm not sure I'm gonna help today.
Yeah.
Um, well, hey, let me walk you through
Yeah.
some of the stuff. So just kind of kicking off instead of like it was a busy week. I mean, just so like Anthropic, right? I think maybe I sent the code to Canvas to the partnership with Figma. So that
Hmm.
was just like blew my mind, right? Because the idea being it's so easy to create with Claude Code, and then you could link that to Figma, and then Figma basically probably takes the image and then carves it up and then puts the code on the back end. So it's a was that multimodal, and then now you can iterate on that, and then you can push it back down into Claude. So I don't know how they did that, but that was just like okay, so what's interesting to me about that is it's less about flattening, the tripod of engineering, design, and product into one role. And I feel like it's more about like everyone being able to move faster in like the getting the design feedback and then pushing that feedback into the code and everything just becomes easier and it's more collaborative. And then you sent me the Claude for PowerPoint, which for me, I just feel like enablement and content creation is such a heavy lift in terms of like quality. And video is the hardest and getting the PowerPoint presentations and all that. And so that to me just kind of like full full loop on kind of the GTM side of things that now Claude's going to go after. And so that's where I started playing with this. So I don't know. The other one that was interesting is Adam from Pure Signal. He's got a great AdamGTM, I think, .com. Is he posted something like 11 Labs Barbell. So
Oh,
this
wow.
new kind of I don't know if it's really new, but you've got product led growth, which builds the brand and kind of the grassroots. And then you've got the enterprise adoption. And that just has the account executives and then selling. And if you think back to the chat GPT moment, right? So many people used it. So then when they came into enterprise, they had such a great brand. They just said, all the users are pushing for chat GPT. So that's what we're going to start with and buy. But there's no middle market. There's no middle. There's no MQL to sell SQL to like high propensity. So it's kind of interesting strategy, but let me share this. Essentially, everything started on Claude with all publicly available information. And then the key that I've noticed is generating markdown because that's what machines can really understand. It's also pretty easy to take a markdown and you can just enable paste to markdown if you really want to be able to read it in a Word doc. You can do the same, I think, with Word document or sorry, Microsoft Word. And so I just prompted Claude to create a presentation on what the document was and drafted an outline. And I was really blown away that it
Sick.
just, it's so sick, even compared to Gamma. So I've been playing around with Gamma Studio. I had to upgrade to whatever their $25 a month plan is. And it's got some really cool kind of illustrations and things like that. But this is really good, man. So just fucking just eating every segment It just reminds me of, what is it? Jeff Bezos' line, "Your margin is my opportunity," and just coming after everything. So I did that, which is, but as you know, there are no layouts when you generate these things. And so they're very difficult to edit. So if you wanted to add a new slide and keep everything else and build, it sucks. With the launch of Claude for PowerPoint, I just said, "Hey, can you just create the master slide deck component of this?" And it just scanned all your slides, and then it built out a master slide reference so that then you actually have true layout. So you have, header and this and that, and, two slide content, or yeah, three slide content, or three section content on a slide. And so that just, now you can actually use Microsoft Designer. And I'm just like, dude, this is a game changer. It's really interesting when you start thinking about the automation aspects of this. And so then on top of that, there's also a Claude skill, which doesn't create PowerPoints, but creates presentations, and it's supposed to be, interesting, fun, and sexy. And so this is open on a browser. I gave it the same information. I like the deck better, but this is pretty slick too. And again, it's just whipped it up. You can't share it with people. They can't edit it. That's why I think this is such a big deal, but this is still pretty cool for a presentation. And
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I'm freaking the fuck out, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I think last week I shared, I had the all hands and I wanted to do the quick shout out. And so I just said, "Hey, help me create two slides for a deck." And it did. And they were beautiful, like yours. And I didn't even prompt it to like style guide or anything. I was just like, "Yeah, do it." I was amazed by what it did or what it produced. So I just used those. But the other amazing thing is, so I have Google connected, right? And
Yep.
it just gave me the little radio button, open in Google and Google Workspace. And so I clicked that and it just automatically opened right into Google's PowerPoint, whatever the proper name is for that. What is it? Google Slides. Yeah, Google Slides.
Yep.
Yes. Like it just, click open and it opened right in. And I was like, then I could go in and edit right there, like fix a few of the spelling that were my fault to begin with. But yeah, it's wild.
I should have stopped sharing, but yeah, it's so sick, dude. It's insane how good this is getting. So
And I was thinking about it this week. And then when you just said you mentioned the Gamma, yeah, I don't see a path forward for Gamma, and people could argue yes or no, but like the high agency people where you said, well, some of the images are like icons or or maybe you don't like them, but I bet you could just pull an icon set that you find online and be like, "Hey, I want to use these icons or this stylized design in my deck." And I'd be willing to bet that it at its current state would be able to take that style guide and turn your PowerPoint into that style guide.
yep, 100%, dude. And a lot of I think the Canvas and the Figmas and PowerPoint, so they are doing that. They are doing something with the base. With Amazon, we can't touch anything. It's so locked down in corporate and marketing from branding for good reasons. So I don't play in that world. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I was so fascinated about the layouts, because if you can kind of AI generate to a point and then get the bridge also built, then you can actually, that's where you start stacking on the design. Granted, who knows where we're going to be in 6 months with these tools, right? Like the whole code to canvas thing with Claude and Figma was just blowing my mind as well. But what's interesting is I feel like I'm spending hundreds of dollars a month now on just personal tools, like an army of one. But honestly, I can't even imagine it not being this way. So I wonder if it's going to turn into like a mobile phone in the way of subscriptions. But just, dude, check out these. So all these AI startups, which are just phenoms of product-led growth, but so many of them are personal, which is kind of, again, goes back to the 11 Labs Barbell, building the brand with like solo people or prosumers or consumers. I mean, I was AI vibe coding app, 98% of people are signing up from their personal. AI image generation is the lowest at 72, which is crazy to me. Like I would have thought a marketing app or design apps. So it is, people are just hoovering this up. Well, so Kyle has a great article on this, but I don't know, any thoughts just on that before we jump into like how they're actually going to revenue turn these personal emails into revenue?
Yeah. I think the only like anecdote or maybe observation I would make is there was an old quote by like Mark Andreessen, and he said like, when I'm talking to founders or future founders, I always ask like what they do after their day job. And I try to gauge if they're like nerds. He called them nerds at night. And I think that just goes to show you like the personal aim, how many nerds at night there truly are. Like,
Yeah.
like we're waiting to get done with work to go do work related, stylish, fun stuff or whatever concept or idea you have.
It's so crazy because not to say that people suck, even though they do. They're just people that they've got day jobs, so they can't help you, right? And now, I mean, dude, the barriers to build things in the digital world are just so much lower. And it really is, 10x engineers are now 20 to 100x. And with Claude Code, I mean, just the creator of that doesn't even write his own code. I was listening to Lenny's podcast on that and just how much is auto generated. And I've been playing with it. Now, for as quote unquote amazing and hands off that is, I've been extremely hands on with all of my projects because like I am just getting killed by paper cuts to start. But I think that's also part of the learning experience. I also heard a crazy perspective on the young people entering or just new workers is also, it's also unlocking because now you don't need 10 years of experience to do the job. You might need 10 months because you can just constantly feed into these LMs like I am. And I'm just leveling up all my skills around Linux and bash commands and architecture for AWS or hyperscalers and like front end web ends and SDKs. And it's like, I would never, people just get frustrated with me. It's like, dude, I'm not your full-time fucking tutor, go away. And now it's like, you have these full-time tutors if you want to be learning all the time and doing something all the time. And it's, it's interesting because also and I'll stop here after this, but and let you, I'll take a breath and you can talk, but you still have to deploy these things. You still have to maintain these things. And so I've been playing with, deploying to Amazon Web Services or GCP, and it's like, which authentication flow should I be using? Like, what is the best architecture? Oh shit. I want to be able to access this, but I don't want everybody to be able to sign up for it because this is just my personal app, but I want it to sync across devices. And so I need a cloud-based service and I want it to be secure because I don't want someone to, hack it or log in. And then I have $1,000 whatever bill from a Gen AI provider. So there's still like things in the real world, right? That outside of your laptop that have to be done for shit to work at scale for the billions of people on this planet. It's a fucked up dichotomy, not even dichotomy, cognitive dissonance of it all makes me manic.
Yeah. I think it unlocked like the nerd at night for tons of people that may have just been sitting on ideas or wanting to do stuff. But it also like has unlocked more like high agency and not like a me too factor or a try hard, but it's, I don't know that the agency, and I'll give you one example, and maybe this is like a try hard for me. So we had a conversation going in Slack and one of our engineers was like, why does our competitor, are they getting ranked higher on context 7 than we are? And I was like, what is context 7? So I went and looked at just quickly, like typed in Google context 7 and it's like up to date docs for LLMs and AI code editors. And I was like, okay. So then immediately he was asking in the chat and I was like, well, I'm just going to go onto Claude and ask, why is my competitor ranked higher in context 7? And what do I need to do to combat that? And it gave me a full step-by-step guide. And I literally just copy and pasted that right into the thread. And I was like, here's what we need to do, guys. Let's execute on this like ASAP. And it was like, go create this account, drop this file into your repo, and gave the step. And then like, okay, so now we're in the game. But like, I guess I don't want to say high agency or like the try hard, but if you just have the ability to like want to pick something up and run, like you can do that now.
Yeah. Well, there's still 7 steps that have to be done there,
Yeah.
but now you don't have to spend 20 hours researching it, trying to get smart enough to educate others or to convince somebody. You've got a plan. Now you just go execute, which is insane. So
it's like, yeah. So it's hard to put like, I don't know, a word. Yeah. just the agency and the unlock. I guess maybe it's the efficiency.
Yeah, and I guess just continue to like just tinker, right? Just keep playing with it, keep doing it. Everything that was frustrating about GTM 3 months ago is basically now 80% solved. And so that which is cool because it's the the goalpost is going to continue to move on what is possible and what you want to be able to do. But it's changing so fast that you want to at least be in it to have a sense because there's still going to be hard parts of everything. I think the creative and the people relationships and building, maintaining more, being secure, being resilient, building the distribution modes. So you're gonna have to focus on the hard stuff, the still the long poles, but the coding is going to be kind of going away or the content creation. It's crazy. So, which kind of brings to this big, like Kyle's conversation on the opportunity, all these personal brands, but like, can you imagine now building a business by focusing on B2C to build your enterprise base?
Yeah.
Like that's now basically how everybody in AI is working, right? They're launching this and then go. So let me show you this diagram. He's got some great visualizations. Encourage all to check it out. He's on he used to be on Substack, now he's on Beehive. It's like Growth Unhinged. Right. So all of those 98% signups come in. And I was doing this with my N8N implementation, if you remember. Well, I guess, yeah, no, it wasn't that. It's from the Customer 66 idea. So basically, there's a lot of data providers. So you get the personal data, you try to recreate kind of their first name, last name. You find out, you can look them up on LinkedIn. You pull that into your database. Oh, they work there, right? Then you can go to Zoom Info or other providers. So once you get, let me see if this, do I have this workflow up? Yeah. So essentially all those steps to get a fully enriched profile. Then you can start going into like now you've got all these personal emails. You've essentially, I don't know, 40% of them, let's say you can capture and turn into like real prospects, so companies that you would want to do business with. And then you're mapping through your CRM to see are they existing customers? Are you already doing campaigns on them? Should you run a campaign? But this one was so cool. It's like imagine you've got 100,000 personal emails. That's not helpful. But then you do this analysis and it's like, oh, I've got 4 contacts at the same customer that have all signed up for the product. They don't know that they can work together. They don't, right? So now you can all go have like interesting conversations like, hey, I don't know how you do this without being creepy. Saw you registered for the product. You've got some peers at your company, would love to, we're seeing a lot of success. Da, 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 da. I mean, dude, can you think of anything better than as a sales rep walking to a cold email, like customer meeting or email being like, I know you fucking use my product. You've been using it for 3 months. You've got peers. Like, how do we fix this? Like,
Yeah. No, it is. It's, it comes back to the unlock is there. Then now a lot of it is just like the implementation, and the implementation is even getting low, and the bar or barrier to do that. Cause like what you showed before, like historically teams have done it in a sense, right? It's like, oh, marketing gets the emails, they scrub the emails, they see like if there's any domains, then they like try to map it in Salesforce. And then like they send it to you as an MQL. And then you're like looking at your, accounts saying, who is this person? But yeah, to that like screenshot you showed was just like a one shotter of like marketing, BDR, SDR to account manager.
completely. And it's again, I don't know where it breaks, but I mean, the the inbound system can be so much more efficient now with all these new kind of CRMs, and I'm sure our tools, like the Attios of the world and the Monaco and stuff like that. I'm sure HubSpot and Salesforce are not sitting idle, but just being able to take all those quote unquote leads that were just like garbage, turn it into like gold, like that's going to be huge. And then nothing falling through the cracks because it's not, these are not fun tasks of scrubbing lists and reaching out and automating all this stuff. So I think I wanted to end today because I know we're a little short in time. Like, so where the differentiation is going to live, I still think distribution. I say it all the time. Which what I mean by that is not having a distribution like a distributor, but actually having the audience in a platform, right, in eyeballs, and that's going to be one. But the other is going to what they're calling like the harness. So as these models get better, Codex 5.2 or GPT 5.2, Opus 5.4.6, Sonnet 4.6, right? Pick your model. They're obviously getting better and doing more capable things. So the differentiation is around the harness, and I'll just use kind of a simple example here. So a clean side by side of the same model, Opus 4.6 in software engineering, just because everybody understands it, vibe coding, with two different harnesses. One was LangChain Deep Agents, completed in 9 seconds, versus Claude Code did 16 seconds, which is a 1.7 delta, right? So it's pretty massive. So, I've heard similar stories. Cursor has access to all those same models, right? Opus has, or Code has access, Codex has access, but it's like how you're actually prompting and context engineering and the harness around there, manage your eval, swapping the models. So I think that kind of theme is going to carry over to every new industry, or a lot of them. It's like, okay, well, you get a new model. Like, what is your marketing harness, right? Like, how are you taking the better images, the better slides, and have a tight process for like shipping that quickly and creating videos, differentiated content, and putting in your own unique spin. I think, and that's definitely what I took away from just the security example I started with. It wasn't so much that Claude just created this amazing output. I have a lot of kind of domain knowledge, and I was very specific on the guidance I gave it around the categories and the industries, and that's what produced it. And it kind of got off, and then I could correct it. So that's where I think people should focus, is like, what is quote unquote the harness around the large language models or generative AI that's going to be your differentiation as a personal employee or for your company.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then on the distribution, like, then it goes back to, first thing when you said the distribution, and I know this is a weird analogy and we'll wrap it, but is Mr. Beast. And you're probably saying, what does Mr. Beast have to do with India? But he did a Super Bowl ad with Salesforce and Slack. And now that commercial is running. We have the Olympics running like 24/7 in our house. I just leave the TV on because, it only happens every 4 years. But anyways, the Winter Olympics, but that commercial runs every 10 minutes.
Really?
But yeah, and it's all about like how Mr. Beast is using Salesforce, Slack, and their agentic services. But the distribution, so I think Salesforce caught on to that. Like, he's got the best distribution across the board for everything and anything now, if you think about it.
Yep.
I mean, now even Starbucks has Mr. Beast cards. Like, where I'm going is like, they tapped that distribution. So like, maybe they're trying to, and I think, and back to like Claude, they did the consumer push with the Super Bowl. Like, those weren't like come build your enterprise with Claude. It was like just goofy, like fun stuff.
That, I guess, it kind of goes back to the old ad days. There's gonna be, and the biggest challenge with ads back in the day was, what's my ROI, right? What's my, but to spend $1 million on this, how do I do cost, attribution on revenue and cost of that, how that influenced everything. That's always like the middle of the funnel black hole. And if you've got capital, you can pay the influencers. I think it's going to be like, it's easy to pay an influencers to say things or market. It's like, what percentage can you capture of that and then turn into your customers, or funnel their distribution into your distribution to build up your audience, which again, I don't know how to do. So I think that's kind of a secret sauce as well. That's constantly evolving. So it's, just tinker, play around. It's getting easier, faster than ever to build things and try things. It's kind of scary to me. Like, it's like, I'll have like awesome moments, and other times I'm like, fuck, I'm screwed, or my kids are screwed. But it's like, just take one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and keep pressing play on these things and keep building.
Yeah. Let's go. And with that, build.
Yeah. Go build.
All right. See y'all next week.
Laters.